What is up, everybody? Hopefully the audio is better in this video. Hopefully it's not too much better, but hopefully it's better in this video because I do have a new set of headphones with a microphone. Got the Turtle Beaches. Turtle Beach? Yeah. Only brand for me. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyways. So, I wanted to make this video today to explain to you guys, like, why do I love Grand Theft Auto so much? Because I know that there is people who have a lot of different opinions. There's people who do have different opinions on Grand Theft Auto. And there are also people who have the same opinion as me. Let me explain to you the type of people who don't have the same opinion. Fucking Karens. I don't like Karen parents. I call them Karens because they literally are. They don't expose their child to any of this type of stuff because they think, oh, it's an adult video game. They learn it as an adult. I mean, yeah, but if they learn it as a kid, you know, they get more used to it and thinking this is what the real life is like. And but instead, you know, parents are thinking, oh, you know, you got cheat codes and stuff like that, so they could think that they're invisible. And I'm like, no, not how it is. My personal love for Grand Theft Auto started at a young age. I always wanted to play Grand Theft Auto as a kid. Never really was able to, cause I was a troubled kid growing up. I really, as I said in a lot of videos, I never really got to play Grand Theft Auto fully until I was about 16 years old. And the first time I played Grand Theft Auto, like, without anybody that was in my family, I'm trying to think back to when it was. It was probably like when I was 12, maybe 12. I don't know. I could have been 12. No, actually 11, because... No. 10. Probably 10. Man, like... 10 was really the first time I actually started even getting to know Grand Theft Auto at all. 10 was when I heard what Grand Theft Auto actually was. Like, I always saw the game when I was growing up. I never knew what the game was growing up. Like, my dad had it on Xbox, so he had the whole trilogy on Xbox, I'm pretty sure. I know if he didn't have the whole trilogy, I know he had Vice City and San Andreas. But I am pretty sure he had the trilogy. If he would have bought a PS2 instead of an Xbox, well, he didn't buy it, my mom did. But if my mom didn't buy an Xbox instead of a PS2, he would have been able to get like the stories with that too, and that would have been cool to play on the PS2. But yeah, that's where my love kind of blossomed. Or that's where like I first knew about Grand Theft Auto and that it even existed was through my dad. But then I actually started, like, I found out the name of it and I kept trying to figure out the name, everything like that. And my mom said, no, you're not allowed to play it because you're too immature and you wouldn't understand it. And you wouldn't understand that it's just a video game and not real life. And I'm like, whatever. You know, like, it is, my point of view is a video game is literally a video game. I don't view video games as real life. I know a lot of people think, like, oh, you're autistic. It's like the Alice in Wonderland syndrome, right? No, it's literally nothing like it. You don't see things, like, the more severely autistic kids, yes, they do see video games like it would be real life. Don't ask me, because I don't understand it myself. But here is... Alright, I had to check and make sure he wasn't crying. Sorry if the might got bumped or whatever on my hair, but I have to check and see if the baby's crying. Um, but the first time I actually got to play Grand Theft Auto, my mom didn't even know until I brought the gaming device that I had Grand Theft Auto on home. And, I thought it would be the smartest idea to keep it in the game console, which was a PSP. It was Vice City Stories. And guys, I can't even explain to you how much I loved that game. I fell in love with that game from the instant I started playing it, because it was like Grand Theft Auto. What people don't realize about Grand Theft Auto, it's the first open world game ever. You wouldn't have games like, and I know I always say this, and I know it's probably starting to get annoying me saying this, but you wouldn't have Simpsons Hit and Run. You wouldn't have Miami Vice. You wouldn't have Scarface. You wouldn't have Scarface the game. You wouldn't have Mafia. You wouldn't have Godfather the game. You wouldn't have nothing like that if it wasn't for Grand Theft Auto. You wouldn't have Saints Row if it wasn't for Grand Theft Auto. You wouldn't have one of the best games ever if it wasn't for Grand Theft Auto. Well, either way, you wouldn't have one of the best games. You wouldn't have a couple of the best games ever if it wasn't for Grand Theft Auto. But I also kind of wanted to do my Grand Theft Auto ranking list, because I have played all the Grand Theft Autos except for Advanced. I'm gonna leave Advanced out because I've never played Advanced, and I've never seen Advanced. There are some Grand Theft Autos that I haven't played, like Liberty City Stories. Obviously, I haven't played because I told you guys that already. Grand Theft Auto 1, London Town, and 2 I've played. Never completed it because I don't have that big of a focus span, and especially back when I played it, I did not have any focus span. Like, I literally just started playing the missions in Grand Theft Auto. Just started playing missions in video games. Like, I never done that before. Like, I did play the missions, but most of the time I just like to free roam. I'm a casual gamer. I just want everything handed to me. But anyways, probably the bottom on my list for all of them that I've seen and played, it could be Grand Theft Auto Advanced, because here's the thing that you gotta understand. Grand Theft Auto Advanced, the reason why they call it that is because it's for Game Boy Advance. Game Boy Advance doesn't have a huge storage, so the game's not gonna be that long, and it's not gonna be that much. So when they put it on that's how you knew, man, this game's gonna be trash, because it was back to top down view. Nobody likes that. Next one, I would say London Town, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with 1, because one was cool. If it was 3D, it would have been a hell of a lot cooler. Even if they make it into 3D, like make the story from Grand Theft Auto 1, like if they remade it and made it 3D and HD, it would be fun. It would be really fun. But the fact that it's literally top down and there's not much to do, that doesn't really help its case. And then Grand Theft Auto London Town obviously is next, and we all know why. Grand Theft Auto 2 is next. We all know why. It's top-down view. I don't like that. But you guys are going to be surprised with my next pick. My next pick is probably going to be... It's kind of hard to decide with this next one, because it's like I want to go with Chinatown Wars, but I also kind of want to go with Grand Theft Auto three a little bit. I know I keep saying like Grand Theft Auto 3 is a very underrated game, and it is. It is a very underrated game. And I am a huge fan of that game. Like the rest of these I actually like. Like seriously, the rest of these Grand Theft Autos I actually enjoy either slightly or very much. Oh, not just slightly, like literally from mid range liking it to absolutely in love with it. I'm gonna have to go with Chinatown Wars. I can't disrespect GTA 3, but Chinatown Wars is fun because it's the only Grand Theft Auto I think, if I remember correctly, it is the only Grand Theft Auto where you legitimately, drive to people and deal drugs, and I like that. That's cool. If they would have made it into like something like the stories, because they released it on PSP, that would be cool. Like the Chinatown stories, that would be awesome. If they would have made that, that would have been awesome. Or if they would have just made it 3D in general instead of the 3D version being absolute trash. Um, Next, I'm gonna have to go with GTA 3 because the graphics are terrible, and the logic of the whole entire game is just trash. When you do mods, the logic of those mods are trash, and the game itself is awesome as hell. I'm not gonna lie, it is awesome because sometimes when you shoot people in the leg, their leg just magically pops off, and I love that. It just starts floating in the air. It's funny. It actually really is really funny. Um, then probably the next one is gonna be. I'm gonna have to go with Vice City Stories on this one. Vice City Stories. Don't get me wrong. I love Vice City Stories. It's awesome. One of the best games ever. But there was a lot of issues with it. Like, it was a pretty small game. And it was, it wasn't like the rest of them that I'm gonna list. It wasn't anywhere. It wasn't anything to compare. Um. Then we have. I'm probably gonna have to go with Vice City on this one, cause while Vice City Stories wasn't that great, Vice City was a little better, but it wasn't like that much better. Yes, you got to rob stores, and that was awesome about Vice City. That was before Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, where you literally could rob stores. You still do rob stores, but you don't rob them like you do Grand Theft Auto 5. If you rob them, they just put the money on the counter. That's it. Then, my next pick is probably gonna be Grand Theft Auto Episodes from Liberty City. Only because, the game is great. The game is fantastic. I love the game. It's just every single bug with the game just pisses me off. Like, you'll try and run. You'll turn around and run back, and you won't even mean to. Sometimes that happens with Grand Theft Auto 4 too, but that's when you play it on an Xbox One. But with the episodes, it's like it does it even with the 360. It glitches when you try and call people or when you try to cheat. Whatever. It just always likes to glitch. It's a bug. It's a bugged game. It's a bugged DLC. And don't get me wrong. Again, as I said, I love the game, but next would probably be Liberty City Stories. I'm starting to get into the games where like I absolutely love these games. Liberty City Stories is gonna be next one for me, cause don't get me wrong, love Grand Theft Auto. Liberty City Stories was a great addition, and that was where I think that's where they were first introducing. Um, I think it. I don't remember if because I never really beat San Andreas, but I don't really remember if there is a mission that you do as a cop or a paramedic and all that stuff. I think that stuff was added later on, which is pretty cool. No, it is pretty cool to be like an ambulance, a taxi driver, a firefighter, and like all that stuff. That's awesome as hell. Then, uh, sorry, I keep trying to listen for the baby. Next one is gonna be Grand Theft Auto 5. Now I know a lot of people are gonna be super mad at me for this one. And there's probably gonna be a storm if anybody sees this. If anybody watches this, there's gonna be a huge storm of people who go like, "What? You're insane! Grand Theft Auto 5 is like the best," and I'm like, "No, it's literally nowhere near the best game in the series." Let me explain why. Yes, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the first game where you got to switch characters, be like a business owner or a ex bank robber, a thug, and a crazy dude. That's literally what it is. That's what Grand Theft Auto 5 is. That's one of the features that everybody loved. You can flip your car. That's a cool feature, and like everything about Grand Theft Auto 5 is cool, except for the fact that now they are making you pay for the no pixel. Like, it was cool when you didn't have to pay for everything with Grand Theft Auto. Like, you pay for the game, you have everything. You get to play Grand Theft Auto Online without Xbox Live. You get to do all this other stuff without Xbox Live, but now you actually have to pay to use that service, and that's what I don't like about it. So that got bumped down. Like, it used to be my favorite Grand Theft Auto. Now it's literally just in the top 3. Like, just by this much. And number 2, y'all know what I'm going for. This is a very hard decision for me to do. I'm gonna have to go with San Andreas. I'm sorry. I know people are probably so pissed off at me right now, but San Andreas, man, it was very hard for me to choose between San Andreas and Grand Theft Auto 4, because San Andreas is the OG game that introduced like gyms and eating fast food and all that other stuff. You were able to do that in like, oh God, I got such a headache. You were able to do that in games like Vice City, and 3 you didn't have any restaurants, but Vice City you didn't even have any eating motions. GTA San Andreas boosted that up a lot, which I wish they would have made a San Andreas story. So that would have been awesome. That would have been an awesome addition to Grand Theft Auto. And if you really think about it, Grand Theft Auto, yes, it's old for a video game, but it's not really that old. It's only like 20 years old. And in those 20 years, well, it's like 24, almost 25 years old. But in those 24, 25 years, they've released 12 different games. Possible 13 different games. Now, I'm not going to defend Rockstar and say, that making us wait for GTA 6 for this long, if they mess up with that, I'm going to be pissed as hell. Because it's going to be like, we waited literally almost 10 years for this game to come out. This is the most anticipated Grand Theft Auto. What I'm afraid of is, there's no trailers for it yet. There's nothing for it yet. So if it does come out, it's most likely going to come out either next year or 2023. So closer and closer to 10 years. If they mess up this game, they had this long to prepare for it, I'm going to be upset. Well, anyways, the final and last game, you all know it. It's Grand Theft Auto 4. Reason is because Grand Theft Auto 4 had a lot of things that were great from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, but added to it. Now, Grand Theft Auto 4, you did get to buy burgers, you did get to buy Cluck and Bell, you did get to buy all this stuff that you had in San Andreas. You didn't have, like, gyms, which kind of ruined that type of fun. Definitely did not have that many cheats. I'll tell you that right now. You did not have that many cheats. But they did have stuff that Grand Theft Auto San Andreas didn't have, like the internet and them using phone cheats instead of button stuff. I mean, the buttons made it to where you can actually, go. I'm sorry if my headphones unplugged. God, that probably sounds like trash now. But like, yeah, Grand Theft Auto. If they ruin Grand Theft Auto 6, I'm gonna be really upset because Grand Theft Auto is one of my most favorite franchises. The second one, I'm pretty sure is obviously gonna be Saints Row because that was like the first actual adult game that I started playing. And I'm pretty sure the next series is probably going to be Manhunt just because of how controversial it is. I love Manhunt. Like the controversy that surrounds it, it makes no sense. Because video games are video games, okay? It's the wrong people that play them that ruins video games for the whole entire population. Like the Grand Theft Auto 5 situation. They're taking Grand Theft Auto 5 away. Why are they taking Grand Theft Auto 5 away? Because they think it's so violent. So violent. Like, dude, we had, like, even the 2000s, there were less Karens out there. Like, and here's the thing that I don't understand. Alright. The Karens sued Rockstar for San Andreas for sex, right? Sure, that's the thing to sue them about, right? But I know I probably said this in an earlier video because this is coming back as deja vu, but I'm pretty sure Manhunt is more due for a lawsuit than San Andreas. Oh my god, there's some sexual content in San Andreas? Wow, if you were to look at the back of the case and see strong sexual content, you would probably know. Am I wrong or am I right? Now, let's look at this. Manhunt has been banned in a lot of different countries. Not saying it should be banned here in the US, and it shouldn't be because it's a goddamn video game and people need to chill the fuck out with that shit. I hate that. It's just like, why blame the video game company? Why? Why would you blame the video game company? It's not their fault. Okay? If your child fucks up, that's not the video game company's fault. It's two people's fault. It's yours and it's your child's. Nobody else's. If your child says, oh, Grand Theft Auto made me do this, like, they're lying to get out of the damn punishment. It's not the game's fault. It is the parents' duty to watch what their child's doing. It doesn't matter. Oh, you have to leave little Timmy home because you have to go to work? Get him a babysitter. I mean, I was just a goody two-shoes growing up, I always listened to... Okay, that's a big ass freaking lie, but I listened to like the video game restrictions that my mom gave me. I respected those rules, and the TV restrictions. A lot of the times I would follow. I did break the rules a couple of different times, but nothing too bad. I mean, yes, when I was 6, I watched The Exorcist, but that was not her fault. That wasn't anybody's fault besides mine. I wanted to watch the movie. I found the movie. I put it in. It's my fault I scared the shit out of myself. It's my fault I damn near pissed on my grandma's carpet. um, but yeah, guys, I'm gonna go because I'm getting the biggest freaking headache right now. It hurts so bad right now. I think I'm gonna go. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys like this video, subscribe, and hope you guys have a fantastic day and a very fun time. Goodbye.